Yo, what is up, guys? It is Nick, or the Notorious Fantasy, back again today with another video. And today we're going to be doing a 10-team PPR mock draft from the third position. And the roster settings are quarterback, running back, two receivers, a tight end, a flex, kicker, defense, and 6 bench spots. And like I said, it's a 10-team PPR from the third spot. And today we're also going to be doing a 0 receiver draft, which means in the first 4-5 rounds, we are going 0 receivers. So it's kind of similar to 0 running back, but instead of running backs, it's receivers. So, but before I start the video, I'd like to ask you guys to please subscribe, click the notification bell, like the video, and leave a comment about anything in the video that you want to talk about. And I will obviously answer you. So we're going to start the draft here. The first pick, Christian McCaffrey, Alvin Kamara, and Saquon Barkley falls right to me. He is my #1 ranked running back in fantasy in any type of format, but Christian McCaffrey in PPR is obviously a good pick because of many receptions he gets, and because of his volume. He's also good on the ground too. So we're to go Saquon here. After Saquon, Ezekiel Elliott, David Johnson, Melvin Gordon, Devontae Adams, DeAndre Hopkins, Joe Mixon, Julio Jones, Michael Thomas, Le'Veon Bell, Odell Beckham Jr., Juju, Dalvin Cook, James Conner, Travis Kelce, and then comes our pick. So, as we see here, 3 teams went with 2 wide receivers in the first um, 2 rounds, which I think is a risky strategy because I like to go 2 running backs and a receiver normally if we're not doing this no receiver strategy. But yeah, and I'd also like to point out that what's it called? Travis Kelce was picked. The first of the big 3 tight ends was selected here in the second round. So I think if we're gonna want to get one of those guys, we're gonna have to make that pick in the third round if we want one of the big 3 tight ends, because I don't think they will fall to us in the fourth round. So right here, we're looking at Todd Gurley, but obviously we're not gonna pick Todd Gurley because, as I've said in every video, I don't trust him because of his injury to his knee, and I don't think it's a good idea to select him before like the 5th round. So we're going to go here out of all the running backs, since we're doing no receiver strategy. The running backs I like Damian Williams and Nick Chubb. Even I think Chubb comes with more risk, and I think that Damian Williams is even better than Chubb, due to the safety of Williams, because I don't think anyone can really take Williams' job. I don't think Carlos Hyde's good enough to do that. Whereas I think Chubb, his job 8 weeks from the start of the season, can be taken by Kareem Hunt. So we're going to go with Damian Williams here. After we select Damian Williams goes Mike Evans, Todd Gurley, T.Y. Hilton, and Nick Chubb. So if Chubb was there, we would have went Chubb, but I think we want to get that tight end. And in my opinion, the better tight end here is George Kittle. So we are going to go George Kittle over Zach Ertz. Zach Ertz, in my opinion, is safer. So if you're about safety, then I would go Ertz. But I think Kittle, on a weekly basis, has a point to boom past what Ertz can get. So yeah, we're going to go Kittle here. And I think Kittle, the only thing with Kittle is that we haven't really seen how well he does with Jimmy Garoppolo. But on the other hand, Jimmy Garoppolo is a better quarterback than Nick Mullins, who was throwing him all these passes before. So after I've selected Kittle, Antonio Brown, Leonard Fournette, Adam Thielen, Amari Cooper, Keenan Allen, AJ Green, Patrick Mahomes, Devontae Freeman, Marilyn Mack, Kerryon Johnson, Zach Ertz, Stefan Diggs, Derrick Henry, Aaron Jones go. So out of these picks, the one thing I want to point out here is Patrick Mahomes going at the end of the third round, which is okay value for him. I'd rather get him in like the 4th or the 5th, but at that turn is okay value for picking Mahomes. It wasn't in the first 2 rounds, so I can give an okay to that. But if it is a 4-point passing touchdown quarterback league, you are not going to be selecting Mahomes in the 3rd, in my opinion. I usually wait longer, but since we're doing the no wide receiver strategy, I may go quarterback and then start that in the 6th round, depending on the receivers that are available. So now we're looking at running back again, obviously. And now that we're in the 4th round, I want to also try to be. I think this pick is risky, but I think either of these guys is slightly risky, Josh Jacobs or David Montgomery. But I see less risk with drafting Josh Jacobs because he is good. He was drafted in the 1st round, so he's going to be dropped straight into that starting running back role. Whereas I think Montgomery's obviously going to have to fight for the role against Tariq Cohen and guys like that are in the backfield. So we're going to go with Josh Jacobs here. Obviously, he will be our flex position. So after Josh Jacobs goes Tyreek Hill, Robert Woods, Brandon Cooks, Julian Edelman. So now that it is the fifth round, I I feel like we're gonna go quarterback because this is the no wide receiver strategy. So we're gonna make it to five rounds of doing this. And Andrew Luck is an excellent pick here in the fifth round because of his running upside and because I think that he's definitely better than Rodgers or Watson. And while I wouldn't be mad having any of these guys below him, I like Luck the most out of those guys. So we're gonna go with Luck here. After I select Luck, Philip Lindsay, David Montgomery, Sony Michelle, Aaron Rodgers, Chris Carson, Mark Ingram, Cooper Kupp, Kenny Galladay, Kenyon Drake, O.J. Howard, Tariq Cohen, Calvin Ridley, Chris Godwin, Sammy Watkins go off the board. So now it's our pick. And we are going to be going receiver here finally because we made it this far into the draft. Um, a guy I like a lot here is going to be Tyler Lockett. Now he's the one on the team, obviously, with Doug Baldwin gone, and I like his upside a lot. And I think that he could even score 10 touchdowns this year, and is a guy that you can even in a run-heavy offense, he's a guy that I think you can predict upon week in, week out to provide. And even though he's going to be my receiver one, he's still someone who I feel like can have receiver 1 week. So we're going to go with Tyler Lockett. So after Tyler Lockett goes Jarvis Landry, James White, Darius Geis, Deshaun Watson. So now 1, 2, 3, 4 quarterbacks have flown off the board by the seventh round in a 10-team league, which means 6 teams do not currently have a quarterback. So with my pick here, we're going to go with someone who I view as with higher upside than Boyd. I think Boyd is safer than DJ Moore, so we're going to go DJ Moore because of I think he has a higher upside on Carolina, and if Cam Newton gets back into great for his injury goes away. Obviously, your injury can't go away, but it heals more, and he's better. That we're going to be going with DJ Moore on Cam Newton's team, the number one on Cam Newton's team. So we're going to click DJ Moore here. After DJ Moore goes Baker Mayfield, Tyler Boyd, Evan Ingram, Darrell Henderson, Matt Ryan, Tevin Coleman, Robbie Anderson, Mike Williams, Jarrett Cook, Alshon Jeffrey, Lamar Miller, Drew Brees, Eric Ebron, Will Fuller, and then it's our pick. Like I said, Tyler Boyd is a guy I like, but I view him as safer than DJ Moore, so that's why I went with Moore. Or I view Moore safer than Tyler Boyd. So that's why I went with DJ Moore. And I also like DJ Moore a lot. He has higher ceiling. Someone who I do not like that has been picked so far. Here we're gonna go talk about Tevin Coleman. Here, Tevin Coleman is in a four-person backfield with it's like Tevin Coleman, Matt Breida. There's a shit ton of guys there. You don't want any of those guys besides probably Breida because he's going later in the draft. I just punched my headset, so that probably made a loud noise. I'm sorry. But now it's our pick, and we already have we already have four or we already have three running backs. We have two receivers. So here we're either going running back or receiver. And the value right now at running back, we're not going to see this guy fall back to us. So we're going to have to go Penny here. I think Penny better than Latavius Murray, unless you have drafted Chris Carson already. Penny's a guy I like because I think that he may be able to take the job from Chris Carson. And if Chris Carson gets hurt, he's going to be a top back in the league because Penny is on the Seahawks, and the Seahawks are a very run-heavy team, even though, like I said, Tyler Lockett is still a solid option, but we're going to go Rashad Penny. Boom. After we picked Penny, Hunter Henry comes off the board, Carson Wentz, Latavius Murray, Allen Robinson. Now it's our pick again. So we're going to want to go with because I don't think I want these running backs at right now at this price where I think I can get someone like Jalen Samuels later or possibly get Ronald Jones, someone like that in the next round. So we're going to go receiver. And the receiver I like most here is probably Christian Kirk right here because I think Christian Kirk I have not drafted him yet, and he has a lot of high upside being on Kyler Murray's team. I think he could end up being the one on the team because Larry Fitzgerald is an old motherfucker. And I think Christian Kirk has pretty high upside being on a team that's going to be throwing a shit ton of passes, running a shit ton of plays on offense. So we're going to go Christian Kirk here on a high, and not a high-powered offense, I would say, but just a team that's going to have a guy who's going to get a lot of snaps each game. So we're going to go Christian Kirk. Okay, so after Christian Kirk goes Miles Sanders, Russell Wilson, Ronald Jones, Kareem Hunt, DK Metcalf, N'Keal Harry, David Njoku, Jordan Howard, Kyler Murray, Dante Pettis, Royce Freeman, Chicago Bears, Golden Tate, Larry Fitzgerald, not Latavius Murray, guys. But something I want to point out here is the Chicago defense went. You do not pick a defense before the last round or the second to last round, like I state in every video. This guy's an idiot. You don't want to be doing that because the defense that is picked first is not always going to be the best defense, obviously, and because the amount of value you get for drafting that defense versus a defense that could be the fifth best defense at the end of the year is very low. So, and I'm going to describe at the end of the draft how to pick that defense. So, stay tuned with how to do that, unless you watch every video of mine where I explain it in every single mock draft video. So, we're going to go running back. And out of these guys, we're looking at kind of semi backup guys, but a guy I like the most out of these guys is Jalen Samuels. Jalen Samuels is a guy that could be getting actually, I think we can get Jalen Samuels after. So, we're going to go Austin Eckler here because I like Austin Eckler's upside. If Melvin Gordon was to go down, he would be a top 10 back in fantasy, I believe. And I think Eckler is a guy that even solo did pretty good last year. Let's see if we can pull up his stats from last season. Yeah, even with Melvin Gordon in the game, he was putting up 12-point weeks in PPR. So he's a guy that I see the solid upside here. And this is a PPR draft, obviously, as I stated at the beginning. So we're going to go Austin Eckler. After Eckler goes the LA Rams, Vance McDonald, LaShawn McCoy, Geronimo Allison, and then is our pick again. Let me tell you something again. Did someone pick the Rams? You can't be picking a goddamn defense in the 10th round, the 6th round, the 7th round, the 8th round, any goddamn round besides the last one. This fucking idiot. So, now it's our pick. I'd like to bring up Geronimo Allison real quick. I like Geronimo Allison's upside because he's the number 2 on a high-powered offense of the Green Bay Packers, but I also think that he may not finish as the 2. Not finish as the 2, obviously, but become the 2 and stay as the 2 when the season begins. I think Marquez Valdez-Scantling, aka MVS, could take that job, so that is not something I would do realistically here until we know better. When I like Marquez Valdez-Scantling a few rounds later. So we're going to go with, right here, like I said, I wanted Jalen Samuels. And I don't know if I described 2 minutes ago why I like Jalen Samuels. I like Jalen Samuels mainly because if James Conner goes down, he's going to be a number 1, just like Eckler. But also, the main reason is because his receiving upside. He could be put in. He's going to be taking receptions that Antonio Brown was getting last year, just like Vance McDonald, in my opinion. But Jalen Samuels is a guy that played tight end last year, and it was a pretty good receiver doing it. And I think that he has pretty good hands playing tight end in college, and he's a guy that I trust to be pretty good with an 11th round selection. And I think he has kind of high upside if that does end up coming true and Big Ben sees him as a target out there, being the number 2 or the number 3 behind Juju out on the field. So we're going to go with Jalen Samuels. After Jalen Samuels, Sterling Shepard, Jared Goff, Marvin Jones, Mecole Hardman, Cam Newton, Corey Davis, Jerick McKinnon, Ito Smith, Austin Hooper, Jacksonville defense, Donta Foreman, my bad. Cortland Sutton, Carlos Hyde, D.D. Westbrook, and now it is our pick. So let me point out here some things I want to point out here. Austin Hooper is a guy that I don't really necessarily like at the tight end position, and I think if you wait, you're going to just pass him and not even feel terrible about it. Another guy, McCall Hardman. He's a guy. He's a rookie now, and he's a guy I see that could have potential if Tyreek Hill is suspended. But right now, I think he is not going to be suspended. Very confusing over there, coming from the camp of Tyreek Hill. My bad. So Hardman being the 3 on Kansas City, not even the 3, probably like the 4th target out there. Even could be the 5th with Damian Williams out there. I like him. He has high upside if someone was to go down, but I would not have confidence starting him. A guy like Corey Davis, I can't stand that guy. He is terrible. He gets 30% of the targets in one season from Mariota. He's getting 30%. I think actually 30% of the offense was ran through Corey Davis. That is 1/3, almost 1/3 of the offense, and he fucking sucked. He was terrible. He did not put up a 1,000-yard season. If you're getting 30% of the targets and you're not putting up a 1,000-yard season, I don't know what you're doing. That's pretty bad. Jerick McKinnon went kind of late, and that's where I see there's kind of value in him here, but I would not select him. And that's really it. Also, the Jags defense, like I said, don't be picking a defense here. And I don't think Carlos Hyde is going to have any value unless Damian Williams goes down. Okay, so it's our pick, and we currently have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 running backs and only 3 receivers. So we're going to need to go receivers here. And a receiver that I really, really, really view as someone that can tear it up, absolutely tear it up on Houston is Kiki Cootie. He's a guy that towards the end of the season, oh fuck, I clicked on him. I wanted to pull up his player card. We can pull it up here. He was a guy that tore it up in certain games that he was on the field. And if he doesn't get hurt, he's a guy that I think could be a great steal late in the draft. So after we picked Kiki Cootie, TJ Hawkinson goes off the board, rookie tight end out of Detroit, LA Chargers, Jameis Winston, Jimmy Garoppolo. So now it's our pick again. And I think we're going to go one more receiver to fill out our bench here. And I always advise to pick more running backs than receivers because currently we have one, two, three, 4, 5, 6 running backs and 1, 2, 3, 4 receivers. So we can go 5 and 6, 5 receivers, 6 running backs, or 7 and 4. But I think since we went the no receiver strategy, there's slightly more risk in these receivers. So we're going to be going the receiver that I talked about earlier, being Marquez Valdez-Scantling, another guy I like here. Also, big shout out to Deshaun Watson. He's a guy I also like, and I also like Curtis Samuel here. But we already have DJ Moore, so I don't think picking 2 receivers from the same team and starting them is even anywhere near viable, unless that would be Antonio Brown or Juju, something like that from last year. So we're gonna go Marquez Valdez-Scantling. I think he may be able to take the 2 in Green Bay, and even the 3 in Green Bay is a solid option on your fantasy team and could have weeks with huge upside. I also like Deshaun Jackson. I picked him in the last video. Check that out. That was a pretty good video. It was a 10-team standard draft, and I also think that he could have high upsides, and especially if you're drafting a guy like Carson Wentz as the quarterback, you're going to want you can match him with your receiver and wait later and just pick Deshaun Jackson, a guy with high upside and a guy that's very fast, as you know. So we're going to go MVS here. Did not mean to do that. We meant to draft him. So after we selected MVS, Big Ben Roethlisberger, Emmanuel Sanders, Isaiah Crowell, Philip Rivers, Devin Singletary, Deshaun Jackson, Tom Brady, the GOAT, Baltimore Ravens, Vikings, Sebastian Janikowski, Cleveland Browns defense, Harrison Butker, Fairbairn, Houston Texans, and now it's our pick. So, I said at the beginning of the video, I was going to explain to you how to pick a defense. So, the way to do it is you print out the schedule, or you look at the schedule, you Google it, and you see every team's schedule, week 1, who is playing a soft ass offense. And then you figure that shit out, and you draft the defense that is playing the soft offense that is still available at the time. So that's how you do it. And then the next week you drop them and add a different defense. Or if you find someone who has 3 soft weeks in a row, you pick that team, or 4 or 5, however many soft weeks in a row you view it as. But as you know, that the offenses may not be as good, or may not be as good as you think, or may be terrible. So sticking to one, believing that how you see the defense playing against someone week 6 as being easy may be completely wrong once you get into the actual season. So we're gonna go with the Broncos, obviously, or the Cowboys. I don't even know who they're playing against. So, but you're just gonna Google that and then figure it out. And I could even release a video about that later down the stretch when it's closer to your actual fantasy draft. Right now it's June, so. We're going to go with Dallas Cowboys defense. After the Cowboys goes Justin Tucker, Will Lutz, Curtis Samuel, a guy I brought up before being a solid option at the back of the draft. Adrian Peterson goes, and now it is our pick yet again. And we are going to go our kicker. So the way you figure out kicker is you Google kicker rankings and then follow one of those guys' kicker rankings, because I don't know anything about kickers. And all I do know is you want one that's on a good team. And you want to know a good team, the Patriots, Steven Gostkowski. After we pick Steven Gostkowski, Greg Zuerlein, Denver Broncos, Naheem Hines, Giorgio Trevecchio, Jay Ajayi, Kai Forbath, and Jake Elliott. Let me just say something real quick before I go over our roster and end the video. I would not be drafting Naheem Hines. I don't really like him unless you draft Marlon Mack and you believe in picking handcuffs. I also do not like picking a kicker that's not on a team, so Janikowski or Forbath would not be doing that. So, we're going to go over our roster one last time before I end the video. So, we got Andrew Luck, Saquon Barkley, Damian Williams, Tyler Lockett, DJ Moore, George Kittle, Josh Jacobs, kicker defense, Rashad Penny, Christian Kirk, Austin Eckler, Jalen Samuels, Kiki Kuti, MVS. So this no wide receiver strategy is something I would implement in a draft potentially. I like it a lot more than the no running back strategy, which I think it could be highly doesn't really work unless you're in like a 10 team league. I think it's way harder in a 12 or 14 team league. Very easy to do in an 18 league. Um, I like the receivers we got, but that we got here, and I also like the running backs that we got. But it is hard to see not having a top receiver. But getting one of those top tight ends also counteracts not having a top receiver. When George Kittle could be a top 10 actual receiver every single week, and is always going to be a top 5 tight end. So I'd like to thank you guys for watching. Please click the subscribe button down below. Please click the notification bell so you can see every video. Like the video. Please leave a comment about anything in the video. Say, hey Nick, your video fucking sucks my ass. It's terrible. Suck a dick. Something like that. I don't even give a fuck. That's what you could say. You could dislike it. Be like, fuck you. You can follow me on Twitter and tweet me mean things. I don't care. Have a great day. And I'll see you guys in tomorrow's video. Bye-bye.